Hello and welcome to the Tainted Tavern. I guess you could call this a re-review.
Oh, come into the Tainted Tavern, come raise a glass with me. We may not put the world to right, but we'll sure give it a go.
I'm sat out here in the beer garden of the Tainted Tavern. I'm going to smoke a bowl of Pesse Canoe Latakia 40, which is a flake tobacco. This is the last of this tin. I'm going to be ordering a new tin today. I've smoked 3 or 4 tins of this over the last few months. I really like this stuff. So I'm going to just have a smoke, have a quick chat and talk about this tobacco, which I have previously reviewed. And if you go into the playlist Legacy of a Pipe on this channel, you will find that review. I'm going to be pairing this with a Boddington draft bitter, which is a good old style British beer. You know, it's none of this IPA tropical fruity tasting beer. This tastes like a traditional beer, which is a good pairing because the Pesse Canoe is a good traditional no nonsense pipe tobacco. Now Pesse Canoe Latakia 40 is made up of 40% Latakia, which is a big percentage of Latakia for any blend. Latakia is more a condiment tobacco and used, especially in English blends, as a backbone to the flavours, to the varieties you get from the tobacco. So 40% is an unusually high amount of a Latakia, but I'm a Latakia fiend. I love the smoky campfire aspect that Latakia gives. So I do enjoy this. Lovely tins as well. I think I've mentioned these tins. They're little tobacco tins, easy to pull off the stickers that adorn the tins, and they lovely little tins. I think I've probably got one more bowl after this one left of this stuff, so I'm definitely going to have to order more of this today because I do really enjoy this tobacco. It's, as I say, it's 40% Latakia, so it's a high percentage of Latakia, so you get that campfire barbecue-ish taste that Latakia is renowned for. But there are also Virginias in here, some burley, so you also get a reasonably good nicotine hit from this tobacco. I'm smoking this in an old Peterson system pipe with a sterling silver band there. And a P-lip. This was an estate pipe I bought several years ago on eBay. Cleaned it up, polished it up a bit, and it's been a really good smoker, and it remains a good smoker to this day. I've been reading the first in the Chronicles of Thomas Covenant from Stephen Donaldson. I'm really enjoying this book. I've had this book maybe 20 years and only recently started reading it, but I'm really enjoying it. I'm probably a third of the way through the first book because this collects the first Chronicles of Thomas Covenant, the Unbeliever, the classic epic fantasy trilogy in one volume. So you've got Lord Foul's Bane, the Iliath War, and the Power That Preserves Us. I'm currently, as I say, perhaps 3/4 of the way through the first book, the Iliath War, and I'm really enjoying it. Unusual character, Thomas Covenant, a leper. The novel starts off in the modern day, or at least was what was the modern day when this was written, and Thomas Covenant has got leprosy. Now at this stage, I think this book was written around 1979, and leprosy was incurable, whereas medical advances means that today the disease is much more easily treated, and if caught early it is totally curable, but it wasn't then, and the word leper held the same outcast status as it would have way back, you know, in biblical days. It's a fantastic book. It's sort of say, it starts off in the modern day, then he's knocked over by a policeman, he's in hospital, he's in a coma, and he travels back to this fantasy world known as the Land. There's a scene early in the book where Covenant rapes a woman who's really helpful to him. It's quite a nasty scene, but a lot of people say they can't get past that scene, that they can't get on with the character after that scene. And whilst I can understand those sentiments, it must be remembered that when Thomas Covenant commits this heinous act, he thinks it's a dream. He doesn't think it's real. He thinks it's a symptom of his comatose state. So anyway, I won't give no more away about that, but the scene is disturbing, very disturbing, but if you put it in context, I think you can, because Covenant's trying to get used to the fact that he's somehow been magically transported to this different land where his leprosy is not the same handicap as it is in the real world. He doesn't believe that he's out of the real world. He believes this is all a dream, so his actions, although horrendous, and I mean, this girl is the first character that shows him any pity, that helps him. So his actions towards her are abhorrent, but it's a very powerful scene anyway. And it didn't stop me continuing with the story. In fact, it made me want to continue, because I think Donaldson, the author, as I say, I've never read these books before. They're big favourites for a lot of people, but I think Donaldson is going to have to address that later in the story. Anyway, let's get this pipelet, the object of this video. Beautiful weather lately. I've got a thermometer on the wall here and it's reading 30 degrees. It was on 35 degrees a little earlier. Now, I really enjoy this stuff. If you're a Latakia lover, then you're gonna enjoy it too. In fact, this is probably my tobacco of the year so far. 2026. This is the finest blend I've discovered from Gadora Tobaccos. Pesse Canoe Latakia 40. They do a lot of different styles of tobacco under the Pesse Canoe branding. This is by far my favourite. I mean, what can be said, that campfire barbecue taste you get from Latakia is so evident in this. I suppose there is a slight sweetness from the Virginia, but it's the Latakia is by far the overriding factor in this tobacco, and more power to it. I do love Latakia, but it cups there. I think you could pick up the sound of the running water there in my pond. So relaxing. A lot of problems with my pond this year. I had 10 fish in there. An heron attack. I think it was an heron attack. I'm left with 4 fish now. A rather large koi carp, a ghost koi. Stunning looking fish. And 3 goldfish of varying shades. We're sitting here by the side of the pond. Pipe of robust Latakia tobacco and a pint of traditional beer and a good book. There's nowhere I'd rather be. This tobacco, as you'd expect, having such an high proportion of Latakia, punches forward in the Latakia stakes. It's almost like an English blend on steroids. The way the Virginias mingle in with the Latakia, it reminds me of the taste you'd get from cooking a jacket potato old style. That is, in an open fire, throwing it into a campfire and then pulling it out a couple of hours later, and that delicious ashy taste that you get on the skin, that's being replicated here. I've got several other Gadora tobaccos in my cellar at the moment. I've got Oriental Flake. I've got, is it Blue Pearl? Yeah, I've got Blue Pearl and Purple Pearl, which are variations on the Oriental style of tobacco. So, but though flavoured with some casings, with some toppings. The Blue Pearl has a very chocolatey aroma and taste. I mean, I've enjoyed all of Gadora. I would say that Gadora are my tobacco house of the year for 2026. I really like these tobaccos, and not only the tobacco itself, but I think the tin is fantastic. I mean, it burns really well. It gives full satisfaction. Just sit there sipping away at it. Listening to the water trickling away. Not a cloud in a lovely blue sky. Almost a translucent blue, as if you could see the universe beyond. And all the flowers in full summer bloom. The sun has got his hat on, hip 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 hooray. This Latakia 40 is going to be a tobacco for English type blend lovers. And Latakia freaks such as myself are going to be in 7th heaven with this. I don't think there's any better way to spend an afternoon than sat out here in the beer garden of the Tainted Tavern. Good beer, damn good pipe tobacco. Forget all your worries. Even my anxiety over the England game tomorrow with Norway seem less when I'm puffing away on this pipe. I think England can take Norway, but Haaland is a fantastic player. If Haaland is the reason that we get knocked out of the World Cup, it's going to be kind of annoying, because he's Leeds born. He could very much be playing for England. But his father was, of course, Norwegian. Fine player himself in his day. And when his father retired from professional football, they moved back to Norway. Haaland was only in his 9, 10, I think, something like that. Don't quote me on that, you'd have to check that, but he was something like that. He was still a young kid, so he spent most of his formative years and his footballing years in Norway. And you've got to respect his desire to play for the Norwegian team. Because even though he would qualify for the England team under the fact of his birthright, that he was born in England, he comes from Norwegian stock, so you've got to respect that. I just wish he was playing for England. He's a fantastic player. I still think England can take Norway, though. Although Haaland has been the personality of the World Cup this year, without a doubt. The Americans seem to love him. And that rowing thing the team do, so great to watch. Especially with this World Cup being marred in so much controversy. The red card overturning for the USA. And then Belgium went and knocked them out anyway. And the Argentinian game, where the goal against Argentina was disallowed. It really does seem that once again corruption is tainting FIFA. And this time it's a bit nastier, because there's a lot of political influence being made evident in the game. Donald Trump, of course, tweeted that he was responsible for the USA's red card being overturned. That's not good. Anyway, check out my earlier review of Latakia 40 from Pesse Canoe, Gadora Tobaccos. Go to the playlist, Legacy of the Pipe, and you'll find it. But that's it for now. So cheers. Yakida. Keep those bowls smoky and those glasses filled. Bye for now.
Please come back soon.